Dance music has taken over since it emerged, with millions of people across the globe attending raves and festivals to listen to all kinds of genres, from techno, trance and house, just to name a few. Some might say that the music is way more than just a sound, but that it has become a lifestyle. In late 2022, the British phonographic industry revealed that dance music has become the UK's second most popular genre. As a self-confessed dance music lover, I wanted to explore how dance music emerged in the UK and what the rave scene looked like back in the 1990s. Why did it become so popular? Why are people so passionate about it? Most importantly, I want to discover just how much it has changed from the 90s to now. The Hacienda, one of the most pivotal places in dance music history. The Hacienda, which was located in Manchester, actually opened in 1982, but became very famous in the late 1980s and early 1990s, attracting people from everywhere.
The Hacienda had already been open for, well, it opened in 82, so it was 6 years before I actually started working there, and those 6 years were very different from the then preceding, so the next few years for certain. And it was very much a live venue, a lot of live bands. There was DJs, of course, but it was a very underground club, even for its size. And the night that I started doing in July of '88 was called Hot Night, and that very much was the kind of blueprint for a lot of people for the kind of let's say hedonism. There was a collision of chemicals, music and the building. I often say that phrase, but the building was very special, the chemicals were obviously very new to people, and the music generally was very new to people as well. The Hacienda, as I say, was very much a blueprint for a lot of promoters, a lot of DJs. I mean, it was a case of the guest list were full of people, famous people, well, soon to be famous people, that would come along and either go away and start DJing or continue their rise as stars. Like, used to have Daddy G from Massive Attack on the list every week.
Stephen Lynn is an artist from Manchester who put on an exhibition in March where John Da Silva played. Stephen creates pieces inspired by his love for music and the rave scene. He even attended John Da Silva's very first Hot Night at the Hacienda.
But obviously I went to the first ever Hot Night because before that I used to go to like normal clubs, shirt and tie, pants, and then my friend who was at college, and basically we come to the Hacienda one night and it just blew my mind. I was like, this is the scene that I need to be into. This is something different. And then it just changed my life totally. And I've had John and I've met him a few times. I've had dinner with him and things like that. And we've become good friends. Obviously, he's DJ mix and two of my exhibitions. Hopefully, he'll do this one for me and then do the house music one next year. John Da Silva was the first ever DJ that I ever heard, and that the Hot Night, it was just something different. When I said to him the first time I went, there was a swimming pool in there, and people go, what, there was a swimming pool in the Hacienda? And I went, yeah, there was a swimming pool in it, and it just blows people's mind that there was a swimming pool there.
Yeah, Hacienda is kind of pivotal for a lot of people, certainly in the north. It's often derided by the southerners. There's always been that north-south sort of divide and a bit of competition going on. And then claiming that they started it first, and we said, who cares, quite frankly.
In recent months, I joined a Facebook group called Raved in the 90's. This group contains 436,000 ravers from all over, and I wanted to ask them my question of how they feel dance music has evolved and, of course, the rave scene itself, and I got some very insightful responses. Many described the experience back then to be hypnotising and said that there was a strong sense of unity and love. A lot of them also highlighted that mobile phones just weren't used as much as they are today, and that everyone was just in attendance for the music. Of course, raves were and still are associated with illegal drugs, particularly ecstasy, speed, and cocaine. A lot of the responses that I received did mention this, and some said that it was just a big part of the experience. So my first one comes from the USA, and they said, "USA here, I've been into the party atmosphere all of my life. I started going to shows at a young age, living 40 minutes from New York City, then got into the industrial hardcore scene that led to raves in 1991. What made me love the early 90s parties was the hype. There weren't hundreds of options. You couldn't just sit home and listen to online music. You had to be there, and to get there was an awesome mission with all of your best friends. Now over the years, I don't say it was worse, just different. Even kids from the 2000s had every option at their fingertips, so they didn't have to drive 2 states to find the right vibe. Today, a rave is a paid performance that I am not interested in. I look for the people that like to let loose and come together, and most times you do not have to pay for that. I respect everyone that loves to party, but there's a hype that the early 90s parties brought that cannot be reproduced. You had to be in the know. And I bet the true underground scene is alive and well. I'm just too old to even be aware of it anymore, lol." My second respondent said, "The biggest change for me was the indoor smoking ban. I was in the psytrance scene in London. Before that, there were always spliffs being smoked on the dance floor and in the chill out room. Bouncers and staff turned a blind eye completely. There was no sneakiness or paranoia required. The loss of that was a massive shift for me. It meant you had to use outdoor areas. Everything felt a lot more visible, and it became more difficult and rarer, and the whole atmosphere changed." And then just to read out a last one. So they said, "All I can say is it was a spiritual experience for me, 1990 until 1992. Raving removed all of my inhibitions and I found my mecca. The walls between us just dissolved and we were united in the same cause. We loved each other and we expressed it without caring. We'd found a subculture where we felt we belonged, and the people trying to stop us and make them illegal only fueled the fire for us to want to do it more. For me personally, I experienced the liberation of my soul I've never experienced since." Of course there was drugs, and the right kind of drugs, because the music and the drugs harmonised. I travelled all over the country seeking the same connections I've found in all of those raves. Those days will never be replaced, and what we all experienced was euphoria of mind, body and soul. That's what I experienced anyway. I'd do it all again in a heartbeat if I could go back. This question really got people talking, and at this point I felt like I had a deep insight into the 90s rave world. It was time for me to find out how things have changed now we're in 2023. Last year, a business report published as part of the International Music Summit in Ibiza found that tech house had overtaken techno as the most popular genre of electronic music. In 2021, tech house dominated the Beatport charts for a third year in a row. Social media has evolved the scene and the way we consume music massively. Songs and, well, basically the entire world are just seconds away from us now, thanks to technology.
Obviously, with social media, it's a lot easier to actually, you've got a platform to promote yourself. That's all well and good, but it's also at the same time robbed the promoters of many. I mean, there's no point doing flyers anymore. In fact, you're banned from doing it in most cities now. You can't flyer, you can't poster. The social media algorithms prevent you from actually doing any real genuine promotion. It's very difficult unless you've got big money to actually get past those algorithms and get promote yourself. And that's pretty much the same for DJs. It's very hard to actually, as you have, if you know, the DJs coming through now, have some of them have just come from nowhere and are suddenly huge, and they've got a PR team. Their agency has got a PR team, and that's where the expertise is now.
I wanted to find out how more people feel about the scene today. I travelled to a club in Wolverhampton called the Grain Store to meet up with event brand owners John, Corey and Jack. John and Jack also DJ together under the alias JJ.
Attic Sessions was basically founded in Ibiza, at a villa party in Ibiza. Seeing what was going on, and was like we just knew when we got home we had to throw a party.
A key thing that I wanted to ask them was how they actually got into dance music in the first place.
My mum playing it down my eardrums when I was 8-9 years old, so forever, as far back as I can remember.
Getting into dance music for me was like, I remember my mum and dad going to Creamfields or some sort of festival, might have been Global Gathering, in like 1999 or 2000. And they took me to a shop and they was buying outfits and glow sticks, and because that was the thing back then. And then it was just all trance. And then I just, being around it from literally like 3 or 4 years of age, it's just naturally embedded in me.
I went to Ibiza. I went there like 2017, didn't really fancy it, you know. But these two showed me what Ibiza was about. And since then, house and techno used to be my thing.
I then asked them what they thought on the current state of the dance music scene.
There's too many geezers rocking round in like night tech and thinking they're this and that. Like, you come to enjoy the music, that's it.
I love the fact that it's blew up like over the last 2 years.
It's popular.
It's popular, but
Yeah.
I just think like the actual like, the meaning of you know like the VIP culture.
Fuck that right off.
I think that's ruining it a bit. I think dance music's more about being together and just having a good time.
To reference what John was saying, Ibiza Super Club Ushuaia is charging €90 per ticket to see Calvin Harris this year. This further adds to people's feelings that, is the music really what matters today? It definitely feels like clubs are more focused on the money now than what they were in the 90s. I have learned that rave culture particularly has changed over the years. The advancing of mobile phones and social media have changed the experience. Many clubs do seem to be charging more to buy tickets also. Is this for better or for worse? Well, I guess that's a matter of opinion really. The popularity of dance music is soaring right now, and that doesn't show any signs of slowing. As a dance music lover, there's still a sense of unity to me, and there is still love between the crowd, but perhaps not as much as there was in the 90s. Dance music is fast evolving for sure, so who knows? Maybe that same level of love can return in years to come.
Heaven holds a sense of wonder, and I wanted to believe that I get caught up when the rage in me subsides. In this white wing, I am sinking in this side.